Alrighty guys, what is up? Welcome back to Hydroneer with Lone Debater 7, and today we are going to go ahead and show off where the other shops are and buy all the things we need to get to the next level of automation. So we've got our 9,200 coins from last time, we've got our hydro truck. If you hit Q, you can drive this around. It is a little bit clunky, so you may want to drive it around a little bit before you go across the bridge and stuff, because it can get a little bit spastic and such. If you do end up getting stuck, use the unstuck button from the options menu, so hit escape and click unstuck, and that will help you. There is a stock market over here, this same one that's above the other area. It is a little bit closer, I think, for some of the other areas, so that's why they have it here. But the town is basically down this hill. It's a little ways away. I'm bringing the truck because you can stack an infinite amount of items in the back. So when you're buying all the things to get your automation setup built, or get automation set up, make sure you bring your truck. You're going to want it. I think you can also use the recall nearest vehicle command as opposed to driving it over here, but you will have to drive it back. So this is the other town. Now there is a third town, so there's a total of 3 shop areas. So there's the starter shop over by where we start. There's this shop, which has basically everything, and then there's the shop up here, which has all the power and logic stuff, which we will get to eventually in this series. You just need, I don't know, maybe 100k to kind of enter into that and make it useful for you. So we don't have 100k yet, so we're going to do that later. But first stop we're going to go to is the conveyor belt shop. We're going to drop our coins in this bucket. Cool. And so it did clear this out. Damn. Okay, well that's fine. I'll show you what I'm going to buy. So we're going to buy 5 of these. So these are conveyor centralizers. So 1. And I'm going to stack them up a little bit because we're going to get more than this. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so pretty straightforward. 5 of those, easy peasy. 1,300 just for the centralizers. Then we also need 5 of these conveyor belt splitters. So what these guys are going to do for us is, once resources are processed, if it goes through this, you can sort them into their own little things off of a main belt. So we're going to need 5 of them, 1 for each setting on the dial, so we can sort everything. Even though we don't get a lot of corundium ore, we do get some, so if you don't account for it, it'll end up at the end of the line, which is a pain in the ass to deal with. So that's 3. 4. And 5. And then in addition to this, I want to grab 1 regular conveyor belt and 1 more centralizer. And this is going to be, so basically what we're going to use this setup for. This is your first level of automation right here. 3466 for all this. Buy. Perfect. We'll load this up in the truck as I'm talking about it. So what we're going to do with this centralizer and the straight piece that we bought are going to be used for the input. So this will lead in and will be our main resource belt. So all of our nuggets, so whether that's iron, gold, corundium, whatever it may be, any nuggets, even gems and shards, will all get processed from those 2 pieces of conveyor belt. We'll put all the assorted stuff on that piece, and then we'll feed it through these 5 splitters. Now what these splitters are going to do for us is they are going to sort that collection of random raw resources, and they will spit them out onto each of these 5 conveyor centralizers. The reason why I use centralizers instead of straight pieces on the output for these is because if you use the centralizers, you can just have it output or export straight into we'll use a pan starting off, but ultimately you'll have it go straight into a furnace. And then the centralizer works a little bit better at making sure it actually goes inside of the container as opposed to just spilling out around it. So that's why I'm going with centralizers for the outlets as opposed to straights. You can also, if you have the centralizer at the end, that's pretty good. If you're transferring from the belt into a storage container, you can put vertical conveyors inside of that. That way you can, basically what you would do is, on the output, you'd put the vertical conveyor, you'd put the centralizer there, and then you could put a funnel at the end of that centralizer, and then you could put your furnace or your crucible from your furnace underneath that. There is like a smelter version of the furnace, which is a little bit better. We'll take a look at that in the other shop because we do need to go there as well. But that's kind of what that looks like. So we're almost loaded up with the conveyor belts. I'm just doing this now because we do need to move all the items. But as you can see, you can stack an infinite amount. Once they're inside of the truck, they don't actually have like they don't occupy space anymore. So you can't just drop stuff right on top of it. You just need to get it inside the lip of the truck. So we've got 5,700 coins left. So what is that? We spent like 3,500, 3,600, something like that at the other shop. So in this shop, what we're going to buy, first things first, we're going to buy the piping we're going to need. So we're going to want 5 of these filters. Because what each of these do is it purifies and cleans the water from source by 20%. So if you have 5 of them, it will get you to 100% filtered water, which is what you need if you're going to use any of the conveyor belts and stuff without having to repair them. We're also going to grab a tool bag because the filters do take damage, so this just buys you a bunch of wrenches so you can repair all these as they take damage over time. Okay, easy enough. We got our 5 filters. Next thing, I want to get 5 of these pressure tanks. The reason why we're getting 5 pressure tanks is because when you use an inlet pipe, it comes in at 50% pressure. So technically, it increases output by 25%, so we only need 4. Because we want 100% pressure through our system. That way, it runs at maximum efficiency and max speed. So there's that. I think we have enough pipe, just miscellaneous pipe up at the base, that if we connect all this and replace the pipe that we already have set up, we'll be able to run it down underground and connect everything without too much trouble. So we want all of this. While I'm here, I also want to buy a saw, so we can split ingots for crafting. So that's a really useful tool. You could get a scales, can be useful. We'll maybe hold off on that. I would like to get a compressor. Now what this guy does for you, and I would kind of suggest doing this before you get a ram drill set up. What this does is it allows you to take all your gems and compress them into single objects. So like let's say you have an assortment of rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. You put all of those inside of this compressor while it's being supplied water. You pull the lever, it'll compact them into a single gem. So you can get really massive gems, which means when you turn around and use those gems to craft a ring or a necklace or whatever is selling for a lot, you'll make a lot more money than using the tiny gems you get from using the grinding wheel right over here. So we're going to get one of those. We've got 5,700, so that'll leave us with like 2,100 coins. I kind of want to get... We're not going to use these right away, but I am going to pick up a harvester. Well, maybe. If I can get it to stand in here. There you go, buddy. Harvester, and I want a ram drill. We're going to ultimately upgrade to have several ram drills, but starting off, 1 ram drill is all we really can afford. Well, we could afford 1 more. Forget it. We'll buy 2 ram drills then, since we can afford 2. Alright, cool. So 55.29, that basically spends all of our money. We've got 210 coins left, so not a lot. And we're actually going to spend these as well over in this shop. But let's kind of do an overview of this shop real quick before we go. So this one has all of your like automation stuff. So it has all the water stuff. It has repair bags. It has all the basic stuff as well from the shop. So that's good. You've got foundations. You've got all the tools. It does have these magnet staffs and magnet on a sticks, which are useful if you're trying to move piles of metallic material somewhere. It has lights. It does have the upgraded smelter and the basic one, and it has funnels. So there's a lot of automation stuff in this shop, which does make it good. Let's see. I need to drive this up. So we're going to just drive this up so I don't have to walk a mile to load. And besides, we're going to go to the other shop as well and buy a few other things before we take off, and drive everything back and unload it at the base. So we're going to take our compressor, and you can kind of just throw this stuff in here. You don't actually have to walk it into the back. I just like to leave the front little bit of the truck open so I can put my coins in there and take them back out if I need to buy something else or whatever. That's just me. You don't have to do that. You can throw your coins wherever you want in there and it'll be fine. So we'll just put all this stuff in. and then we'll probably drive it back and unload it. And what I'm probably going to do, because I do want to show off the third shop, as opposed to driving back and showing you how long it takes to unload this fucking truck of shit, what I might do is also run up to the powered shop and show off that, and then we can just make this episode about the various stores in the game and where you can get different stuff, because it is good to know. And there are more stores than just the 2 we've been to so far. There's another 2 or 3, I think, in this town, and then there's another 2 or 1 or 2 up in the other area, so we'll go show those off in just a second. We almost have this loaded up, then we'll walk over there. We're gonna go to the housing store first, because I want to buy some foundations for our base. That way expansion's a little bit easier to do. So what you can do as well, if you hit unstuck while you're here, it does line you up so you can drive straight back out, which is super helpful, as opposed to having to make like a U-turn and spin this big ass thing around, because the more items you throw in the back of this truck, the more laggy it gets, so just bear that in mind. But this shop right here is basically the housing stuff. So there's lights, there's fishing, there's more there, so you can buy the fishing pole in the basic shop. I haven't ever played with it, but there's also fishing pots, there's tool racks, there's all various slopes. So there's sheeting, so like sheet metal stairs. This just allows you to move stuff around. There's windows, there's glazed windows, there's walls with windows, there's doors, or well, that's not viable, but there's roofing, there's buckets of paint, so you can actually paint things different colors with a paintbrush. There's the post lights that we've used already, wood floors, walls, doors. So there's a lot of stuff. What we're specifically going to buy is large concrete floor. Now, large concrete floor and large wooden floor are literally the same thing. They're just textured different. I like the texture of the concrete floor a little bit better for my automated areas, because it's kind of like, I know that you wouldn't ever see rickety ass wood shit like that in a mining facility. Like, it's just not a thing, because, you know, low-key I have worked at a copper mine before, so I kind of do know what I'm talking about on that. So here we go. We'll buy 5 of them for now. That should be enough to kind of tile the floor a little bit, to fit all this new stuff that we're going to use to automate our resource gathering. So we'll just load this up real quick, then we'll show off the last shop, and then we'll probably wrap up the episode there for today. But not too bad. It is fun when you, like, what I try to do in this game, just because it takes a while to move places and move items, is I try to save up as much of these as I can before going to the shop, and like try to do things in big chunks. So like plan out a really big build and then go to the store and drop like 10-20k all at once, so I can come back only make the trip once, if that makes sense. So this is the other shop. So this is like the decoration shop. So there's little pedestals, there's safes, these will hold like necklaces, trophies, throne. 14.5 for a throne. Okay. There's chairs, there's fancy beds, there's tables. Look at all this stuff. So there are like deco stuff as well. I believe this shop over here sells the little carts. So we do have a cart. I don't really use it all that much, just because the hydro truck is better than the cart in my opinion. And if I don't need to carry a lot of stuff, I'm just going to run it because it's faster. Unfortunately, you can't put the cart on like the back of the truck. I guess you wouldn't really need to do that because it's got an infinite storage capacity. This is where you buy new vehicles. So there are different skins of the hydro truck. They are all the same. So these 3 are all the same. They're just different colors. This one I think is a little bit smaller, maybe. And this is like the default one. I think the more expensive ones have slightly larger water tanks than this one, is maybe what the difference is. But otherwise, they're literally the same thing. They just have a different color. And then this guy right here, which actually is kind of in the middle, which is interesting, is the harvester. So this allows you to actually dig up dirt and export it. But realistically, we don't want that until we have this basic sorting automation and stuff set up first. This is the scrapyard. I don't actually know what you do here. I think you can take random pieces that you aren't using anymore and destroy them is what that's used for, but whatever, not a big deal. The other shops are up here, so it's new stuff. So this is newer content, power and logic. Let's go take a look at it at least, because it is interesting, and I do plan on making videos about how to set this stuff up. So there's explosives, logic cables, a wrench, diodes, different comparative stuff. That's cool. There's logic cable valve. Oh, okay, so you can like turn off water with a logic single. Counters, various cabling pieces, a reader. There's a button, a switch, and a keypad. That's cool. Logic valve stops flow of water, can be toggled on and off with logic. Okay, that's cool. This is an auto repair, and this is a damage reader. Cool. Logic smelter, it auto does it. That's kind of cool. So that's the logic stuff, which there's actually quite a bit here. I am really excited to get to try out all the logic and power stuff, because you can do some pretty cool stuff, I think, with it. This is the power side, so these are power cables, logic, pressure booster. When power provides 100% pressure. So, like, you'd only need one of these, as opposed to the 4 shard-powered ones to get the same effect. So that's pretty cool. Destroyer destroys items, intake pipe. Oh, or you could just put in the intake pipe and get it inputted at 100%. That's pretty cool as well. Powered filter, 100%. But all this stuff is really expensive. So like 17,500. That one's not too bad. The piping is not too bad. Batteries, not too bad. Reactor, 25,500. So we can't even start any of this stuff. Well, you could do the logic, but you can't use any power until you have like 25,500 coins, which is a lot. Like, I don't even think we've generated that much in the entire playthrough. In this series anyway. I have that much in my other game, but we're not counting that here. So there is some cool stuff. We'll go over it when, we finally have built up enough revenue, or like, gathered enough resources to be able to afford that stuff. This is kind of just like a random ship, I guess. What's over here? Oh, it is a shop. Okay. So you can get a workbench, various items. That's interesting. I didn't even know this was here. Cool. There's screwdrivers, tool bags, spanners. Is there more stuff down here? Oh, there is. So there's scrap with weight. Huh. Okay. What is this? So required 12 swords for a candle blueprint. Oh, okay. So this is, I didn't even know this was a thing. So apparently, like, you craft stuff and turn it in here, and it unlocks new blueprints, so you can build new stuff. So teapots, elbow pipes, T-pipes, shields, cages, spanners, battle axe. Or that's battle axe. This is a pipe. Blunderbuss. Okay. And then tool bag. Cool. Well, alright. Awesome. So you come down here when you're ready to get blueprints and start crafting real stuff. This is his reactor with his giant shard in there. That's kind of fun. But anyway, guys, so that's kind of the shops and, like, what you've got access to as far as to buy and things to do in the game. Like, so there is a little bit of, like, it's not just let's grind a bunch of resources and then have nothing else to do. Like, there is stuff to do. Like, those crafting things will take a while just because of the number of bars you need and number of crafted materials and stuff like that. So we will work through that board at some point. I kind of want to get everything automated first, because if you focus on automation early on, you can scale up your, your production. So, like, how fast you're making money in this game. A lot more. So, like, right now we're making 2,000-3,000 every 15-20 minutes-ish. After we set up all this automation stuff that we've got in here, we'll be able to do that without actually having to do any work, roughly. We might need a couple more RAM drills, but that's fine. We'll start with the 2 and just turn them on. But after that, as you start expanding, like, I think in my other game that I've played for a little bit longer, I have maybe 30 or 40 RAM drills, something like that, feeding through an automated system. And that one makes me like 20 to 30,000 every 10-15 minutes that I run it. So that's kind of what you can scale into, and there's way crazier stuff you can do for sure. We'll probably expand to a larger plot before we do any of that kind of stuff, but in the next episode, what we're going to do is we're going to use all the stuff inside this truck and kind of show off building the first set of automation, which is the sorter, then we're going to show off like the next step of automation, which is going to be setting up the ram drills and the harvester. And we'll kind of go through that progression. There are more conveyor belts that I'm going to need to buy before I can use the ram drills and stuff. I just don't have the money to buy them right now, otherwise I would. So we'll have to come back at some point and buy more things and expand our setup farther. But we can get at least a basic thing set up that will make our lives a lot easier as far as processing, the refined dirt quicker is concerned. So like, even if we are doing stuff in the pan, sorting takes a long time, just sorting all the gold and iron and shards and stuff. So if we have an automated sorting system, that will save us all that time, so we can just fill up the pan, drop the pan down on the conveyor belt, have that conveyor belt run through the sorter, and then we'll have everything ready to go. We can smelt what we want, craft it into things, make the money we need, and expand our automation. But anyway, guys, so that was our shop coverage episode. There is a jeweler's back here, so you can sell stuff in this town too, just FYI. There's boarded up area. We're just going to run around while we close out the episode. But there is a lot of cool stuff in this game. If you haven't tried it out yet, I would suggest giving it a shot. It is fun, especially if you like automation and gathering type games, what have you. But if you enjoyed the episode today, be sure to like, comment, subscribe as always. And until next time, this has been Lone Debater 7, and we will see ya.